Hey everybody, I'm Eddie Starr, and this is the College of Rock and Roll Knowledge. Class is now in session. This is where the music and culture that shaped a generation live on, and my own path through the world of rock and roll. Bass player Steve Priest passed away earlier this month on June 4th, 2020. He rose to prominence in the British glitter band The Sweet. Here's an interesting little side story about The Sweet. Over the past 3 decades, 2 different members, Andy Scott, the guitarist, and the last surviving member now of the original lineup of the band, and Steve Priest had their own versions of the band. And I guess through some type of trademark thing, I think like Steve Priest had Steve Priest The Sweet in the North America, and Andy Scott had it for UK and Europe. But it is sort of an interesting story in terms of the music industry and bands and all the stuff that goes on with that. But glitter was a style of music that became huge during the early 70s in England, and some of the artists that were associated with that scene included David Bowie, Suzi Quatro, Alice Cooper, Gary Glitter, Elton John, Mark Bolan's T-Rex, and the band Wizard. Everybody, of course, knows David Bowie, Alice Cooper, Mark Bolan's T-Rex had a hit, Bang a Gong. Also, not too long ago, I think in the movie Billy Elliot, they used a lot of his music, and Cosmic Dancer was in that as well. And I believe he is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. Suzi Quatro really became known for, and at least in America, for playing Leather Tuscadero on Happy Days, Fonzie's cousin. Of course, everybody knows Elton John and what he's doing. The band Wizard, Roy Wood, who fronted that band, went on to form the Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO, with Jeff Lynne in the 70s. And glitter was really, it's best described as basic rock and roll with a dash of bubblegum, gang vocals, a whole call and response type thing between the band and the audience. And it's sort of like the English football matches and the chants that they do at those games, the fans do. And also, too, glitter is known for its very provocative outfits and the makeup and the huge platforms. And if you go on YouTube and look up the Glitter Band, you'll see, Gary Glitter come out on a motorcycle, and there were a lot. It was very theatrical. You could say that a lot of the metal that came out in the 80s and the big choruses they had, that was directly taken from the early 70s and that whole British glitter music scene. Glitter never caught on in America. Although in Los Angeles, Rodney Bingenheimer did have his English disco and played the glitter music, and a lot of musicians of that came out of that club, fans who went on to form bands, like a lot of the Runaways girls were very much, especially Joan Jett, and you look at her solo career, All Right with the Boys on Bad Reputation, and Do You Want to Touch Me, 2 Gary Glitter songs on Bad Reputation. And then on Glorious Results of a Misspent Youth, she did I Love You, Love Me, Love. The Sweet had big hits. They were at the forefront of the whole glitter thing. Songs like Wig Wam Bam, Hellraiser, Teenage Rampage, Blockbuster, Little Willie. And of course, they started with sort of the bubblegum hit type, that type of song, Funny Funny and Papa Joe. Basically, they were discovered by producer Phil Wainman, who was looking for a band to sing the songs of the songwriting team, Nicky Chin and Mike Chapman. Mike Chapman went on to produce Blondie and Lita Ford later on, but I believe they also wrote had hits with Suzi Quatro as well. The interesting thing about the suite, too, where, you had Brian Conley, who was the lead singer, who always, he was a good singer. But then you had Steve Priest on the side, playing his bass, really working it. And, in every song he had one line that he would sing that sort of just really drove the point home. And if you go to their official YouTube channel, you can see a lot of those early videos from Top of the Pops, which are great. And you could make the argument that he really did sort of steal a little bit of the spotlight from Brian Conley. I mean, he was really over the top. I always knew about the suite. I had heard Ballroom Blitz, I think. I don't know where I first heard that song, but a lot of the suite songs are songs that you've heard in the background somewhere. And I really got into them probably in the late 80s. Like with me, all the stuff I get into is the stuff that I was sort of too young to experience. So I guess you might call me an old soul. So I used to go to this club called English Acid in Los Angeles, and they played a lot of the British glitter music, punk, and I saw several videos, and that really got me interested, and I went back, and of course, there's the best of compilations and Desolation Boulevard, and that's pretty much it, because I think a lot of their initial singles were basically singles. I mean, I know that they had 2 or 3 albums, but those early British glitter songs were singles. Also should make it known that if you look it up on, in any music periodical or journal on the internet, it'll always come up under glam. And there is a difference between glitter and glam that music critics are becoming very lazy with. Glam was sort of a heavy metal thing during the 1980s, and bands like Hanoi Rocks and Motley Crue, bands that wore makeup and, had the big choruses and stuff like that. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you for listening, liking, sharing my podcast. Don't forget to click the bell so that you get notified. And I will see you next week.
I'll be what you want me to be. The darkness will turn to light. I'm your dirty secret tonight. Dream or not and take a look inside. The big show reveals what you hide.
Eddie Starr's College of Rock and Roll Knowledge is a production of Ton Up Incorporated. Copyright 2020 Ton Up Incorporated.